You're traveling through another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound but of mind, a journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. That's a signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Ridge Review.
Good morning, Dakota Ridge. I'm Danny Pellegrino, and you're watching the Ridge Review. A lot has happened since our last show, including a new president. I put on a nice shirt and did a quick roundup of some of President Biden's new executive orders. Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk a little bit about politics. Specifically, we're going to talk about the executive orders Joe Biden has signed since becoming president of the United States. One of the first executive orders he signed called for the federal government to improve racial equity and support for underserved communities by advancing civil rights, racial justice, and equal opportunity to all people. Joe Biden has also signed an order that seeks to prevent discrimination based on gender identity and sexual orientation by strictly enforcing previous laws put into place to end this discrimination and having all government agencies update their policies to end this discrimination. He has also released several COVID-19 relief bills outlining a clear plan to provide support to Americans struggling due to the pandemic and how the government plans to combat it going forward. He has reversed a transgender military ban, saying all people eligible to serve in the military should be able to regardless of gender identity. And finally, he has released an executive order calling for improved conditions and protections for federal employees and calling to raise their wages to $15 an hour. This has been your weekly dose of politics. We'll see you next time. And our own Nick Ortiz finally moved into the 21st century. This time, he's coming at you with a review of the 2007 film Zodiac.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you had a great break and January as well. Over break, I watched a lot of great movies. Some of them new, but mostly ones I had already seen before. And when I had left you in December, we finished the 90s review with Pulp Fiction, so that means we're on to the 2000s. Now I know I say this every time, but for this one I actually did have a hard time picking a movie. Every single one of these movies I considered I'd grown up watching and I love all of them evenly. So you may ask, what did I come up with? And it all came down to these four: The Dark Knight, The Departed, Zodiac, and There Will Be Blood. And I know even more of you haven't seen Zodiac, so bada bing, bada boom, here it is. Okay, I just have to start off by saying that this has to be the most slept on movie of the 2000s. David Fincher directed this one. If you've seen Fight Club, Seven, Gone Girl, or The Social Network, you know who he is. Whenever I'm discussing his movies with someone, Zodiac never seems to come up. This movie's about the Zodiac Killer, but more specifically the detectives and reporters who tried to find him. If you don't know about the Zodiac Killer, he was a murderer in the late 60s and 70s who claimed to have up to 37 victims. They think they know who did it, but it was never confirmed. So he could still very well be out there. Good luck sleeping tonight. So back to the movie. I'm gonna be giving you your normal rundown of it. Script, acting, directing, all of that. This movie was adapted from the novel by Robert Graysmith. He's actually kind of the main character in the movie, but I'll get more on that later. To start off, the dialogue is great. The characters all have these amazing interactions with each other that just hook you and drive the plot forward overall. James Vanderbilt doesn't rush through the story. He takes his time so that the audience can learn new things about the case just as the detectives do in the movie. The movie is a bit on the longer side, but I do think that is reasonable. If you were to just rush through it, you wouldn't have that suspense that makes this movie so great. Now we gotta move to acting, because it has to be some of the best that I've ever seen. The three main characters in this movie, I don't know if you've heard of them, they're in this little film franchise, but they do an amazing job. Jake Gyllenhaal was so overlooked by the Academy in this movie. He portrays Robert Graysmith, a cartoonist for the San Francisco Chronicle. Gyllenhaal captures Graysmith perfectly, from the way he acts and talks to his obsession to find the killer throughout the film. Mark Ruffalo is fantastic as the detective who is trying to solve the case, and Robert Downey Jr., well, he is Iron Man. No, I'm just kidding, he's good too. Okay, now I have to talk about the attention to detail in this film because it's simply insane. Casey Storm, the costume designer, made everything down to the very fabric resemblant of the clothing that the victims were reported to have worn. The set direction too. Victor Zolfo made sets and even had some graphically put in so that it could accurately represent the places that some of the murders took place. Fincher took police files and reports from some of the survivors to know how every detail of how the interactions played out. Fincher didn't want to tell you how all of this stuff went, he wanted to show you. Everything he could do or find out about the case, he uses in the film. It's safe to say that this is the most screen-accurate true story in film history. See, if I could nominate it for anything, it would have to be these. Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Directing, Best Costume Design, Best Set Direction, and Best Actor in a Leading Role, for Jake Gyllenhaal of course, as well as Best Original Score. In the end, I strongly recommend you go watch this movie. It's on Crackle? I don't know, but it's free with ads. And even if you're not big on murder mysteries, it's worth watching just for the performances alone. Alright, that's gonna do it for me today. Maybe I'll be back with the 2010s, or maybe I'll do a new movie or something. I don't know, we'll see. So until then, study hard or party. I don't care, you do you. Adios.
That's it for today, Eagles. For more D-Ridge news, check out the Cord News website, and we'll see you next time.